Hey guys, continuing to look at some of the questions you guys have had on 9-7. Right now we're going to take a look at question 31. 31 says 6p squared equals 864. So let's look at how we might solve this thing. Again, first thing you typically want to do with a squared equation, or what's called a quadratic equation, is get it equal to 0. So I'm going to take away 864 or subtract 864 from each side. These aren't like terms, so I can't do anything there, but I do have 6p squared minus 864, and now it equals 0, so I'm halfway there, using my zero product property. Now, I see I've got two terms, and I do have a subtraction problem, so that kind of makes me think of this difference of two squares. The only problem is I'm not sure about 864, but I know 6 is not a perfect square. All right, so this doesn't really fit our pattern yet. But again, this is one of those equations, and again, this is divisible by, let's see if they're all divisible by something. So let's see if 864, I know it's divisible by 2. Let's see. We can check and see if it's divisible by 3. If these numbers add up to something that's divisible by 3, then it's divisible by 3. So let's see, 8 plus 6 is 14, plus 4 is 18. 18 is divisible by 3 means this number is divisible by 3. Okay, so wait a minute. If this number is divisible by 2, and I know that because it's even, and I just added these up, and I can see it's divisible by 3. If it's divisible by 2 and by 3, that means it's also divisible by 6. All right, so both of these, and including the 0, are divisible by 6. So let's go ahead and divide everything by 6. Again, you can always do this with an equation. You can't do it with an expression, but if you've got an equation, you can always divide that entire equation by any non-zero number you want to. So 6p squared divided by 6 gives me p squared. Let me check this out. 864. 864 divided by 6. I got 144. I like the looks of that because I've seen that before. 0 divided by 6 is 0. Now, let's look and see. All right, it is a subtraction problem involving two terms. This is a perfect square, p times p, and 144, hopefully you recognize that as a difference or as a perfect square, 12 times 12. All right, so now we're ready to factor this thing. I can factor it as p plus 12 and p minus 12. This is one of those difference of two squares, and that's always how we factor those things. So now that I've got it factored, I can use my zero product property. So p plus 12 has to equal 0, or p minus 12 has to equal 0. Again, if I'm multiplying two things and getting 0, one of these two equations has to be true. So I can subtract 12 on both sides. I get p equals negative 12. Or on this one, I can add 12 to both sides, and I get p equals positive 12. So two possible solutions to this equation, negative 12 or positive 12. Now, here's some free information for only you guys watching this video. I didn't include this in the notes, but something that you might see a little bit later. There's a shortcut we can use to write this. Instead of writing negative 12 or positive 12, we can write that with a little, it's a plus symbol, it's a positive symbol underlined, and what this means is positive or negative 12. So rather than write it as negative 12 or positive 12, you might see times where they write it this way, plus or minus 12, all right, or positive or negative 12. That way you can write it as just one quick term there. Okay, so hopefully this helps. Again, this was number 31 on 9-7. Make sure you guys are emailing me or sending me messages through Remind or Classroom, or for any others that you might have questions on. Also, make sure that you guys are checking your answers on the answer document, simply because when I grade your homework, I'm just checking for completion. I'm not looking at your solutions at all. So you really need to make sure you're checking your solutions, so you can be sure that you're doing these right before you have to take any quiz over this. All right. Let me know of any other difficulties you have. All right. Take care, guys.